developing a condition 2% of the time, and another group is developing that condition 4% of the time. That other group is at 2 times the risk of developing that condition, which is scary. I don't want to be at twice the risk of developing any of these things. But translating that down to the individual, 4% is still not an enormous number for one person. Again, at a public health scale, that's terrifying, because what that translates to in the order of millions and billions of people and the costs associated with it. But I don't want the message to be from this, if I've had this exposure, I am predetermined for this outcome. Most people who have had this type of exposure do not develop dementia. You are simply at a higher risk as a result of having this type of exposure. I'm going to pause here to take maybe questions if there's anything now, because I sense that some of this is new information, like even this idea of Alzheimer's versus dementia and what the risks are. So are there any burning questions at this point before I keep talking at you like I promised I wouldn't? Yeah.
I'm just curious, you're looking at anything as far as age when the brain injury occurs. So younger, more moldable brain versus a little bit older, or even 35 or 40, right? Principles of neuroplasticity are a little bit worse as you get older. If there's potentially a higher impact leading to some type of dementia versus if they're younger.
Yeah, so the question around, does the age that you got injured matter? Maybe. So there's not a lot of strong data that say if you were, when you were younger, had one traumatic brain injury, that is in and of itself increasing your risk for dementia later. It's going to be having to always be thought about in the context of every other risk or protective factor that somebody has. So the further you are from the injury, the harder it gets to attribute that dementia to the injury. And also, if you're going way back, how good we were at capturing data, asking someone when they're 65 about whether or not they hit their head when they were 6 or 7, now your data starts to get less reliable. So even if we see an association there, it's going to take more of a dedicated research effort to actually track this stuff longitudinally to see. The other place this question comes up is specifically around sport participation. There were a few studies that came out that the earlier age you started playing American football was associated with higher risk of problems later in life. The challenge there is for a lot of people who started playing earlier, they also played longer. And the number of years you play, as best we can capture it now, seems to be the risk factor that shows up most consistently in the research. So trying to disentangle, is it because